if you're a songwriter looking to develop their craft and write better songs that they can go on and monetize, you're in the right place. My name's Danny, founder of Songwriters International, where we help songwriters, music producers, artists develop their music so that they can go on, write the best pieces of art and go on and monetize the pieces of music that they've created. I've helped exactly 3,115 songwriters just like you do that for their music. So if you're new to the channel, I want to give you a very warm welcome. Now, in today's video, we're going to be going through a song which is the most played song on planet Earth on Spotify. It's the most streamed song, and it's this song here, Blinding Lights, by the artist The Weeknd. It is the most streamed song online, as I have mentioned, and it's literally been heard by billions of people, not millions, billions. And I want to share with you some of the key takeaways that this song uses, what the songwriters did, how they did it to have the most successful song that there is out there today. What melodies did they use? What lyrics? What structure? How did they place the chorus? What did they do with the intro hook? What did they do with the outro? All of these things so that we can take away from this song and implement it into our genre. So the first thing I want to go through on this song is structure. How is it laid out for us as the listener? Well, the first thing it does is it has an intro, okay? So it has an intro into the song. And that intro, we're going to explore, we're going to talk about it in a moment, but it's a little melodic synth intro. It goes from the intro into a verse. Then it goes from the verse into what we call a pre. Now, a pre is a pre-chorus. You may be familiar with those, but I just call it pre for short. It goes from the pre-chorus into a chorus. And then it comes out of the chorus and it goes back in to a verse. From the verse, it goes back into the pre, and from the pre, it's going to go back in to the chorus. And then from the chorus, it goes somewhere different. It goes to a bridge. And then from the bridge, it goes back in to the chorus. Now you can see from this structure here very simply, it's very, very simple. It's based on a lot of repetition. The reason this song is so successful is because it repeats a lot of the same lyric, a lot of the same melody, which is the easiest way for what? It's to keep the listener engaged. It's to actually keep the listener hooked on the main part of the song, which would be, for this, the pre, the chorus, and actually the intro is important, and it also has an outro, I should add. Okay, so it has an outro at the end. But we can see we've underlined all the key elements in this song. So what I want to look at here is the structure, but actually highlighting some of the key things within that structure. First of all is the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is repeated twice, and the lyrics in the pre-chorus do not change. They stay the same. Why? Because it's then making it easier for the listener to remember. Then the chorus, it happens 4 times. Now, a rule of thumb for you as a songwriter, if you have a chorus in your song, the minimum that you want a chorus is 3. You don't want it any less because it's not going to actually be able to get stuck into a listener's head. So we can go 4 upwards to about 6. And then what it does is it has an intro and outro which repeats twice. But the great thing, and again, we're going to explore this in a second, the intro and outro actually alludes to the chorus. So essentially, it's basically almost just repeating the chorus, but in a different way to the listener. And it's very, very cool and a simple way to do it within the production. But you can see here, it obviously has a verse and it has a bridge. As I mentioned, we're just going to put B for bridge. The core element of this particular song are these parts: the pre, the chorus, of course, and then the intro and the outro. And the verses and the bridge are ultimately in there because that's what you'll find in a typical structure. So the first big key takeaway I want you to understand is just to repeat the key parts of your song, or you may have heard of it as repetition, okay? Repetition, repeat, however you wish to allude to it. That is super, super important to a successful song. It's just making sure that if you highlight the key parts of your song enough and you repeat them 3-4 times to a listener, as long as the melody is catchy enough, you're then going to solidify the song. And I can guarantee if this song didn't repeat as much as it did, then the success of this song would not have been to the level that it is right now. Another thing here as well that The Weeknd does is he does not overcomplicate the structure of the song. It follows a very simple format, as we've already gone through. So when you're writing your song, don't worry about adding multiple verses. Don't worry about adding multiple instrumentals or adding extra bridges that don't need to be there. Just focus on the key elements and don't overcomplicate. You can't go wrong with the structures of a verse, a pre, then a chorus, and just repeating that same structure again. It's been proven to work time and time again for a lot of the successful songs that you love and that I love. So before we dive into the song and what it's doing melodically, there's some fundamentals and some theory we need to understand to melody, so that when I actually walk you through what it is The Weeknd does, we know exactly what it is and how then we can do it for our songs. So there's 3 melodies that every single songwriter can use on this planet, and there's only 3 that we can use. So that makes everything a little easier. I'm going to share with you what those 3 are. So we have this one, which is what we call static. Okay, that is a static melody. A static melody is like a straight line. It's designed to be quite straight, not move very much, and very much at the time tell a story. Then we have more like this, and this is what we call a conjunct melody. Okay, so I'll pop that here. So we've got a conjunct melody. Those are great for things like pre-choruses, maybe even sometimes in a verse. It's just dependent where you want to use them in your song. And then finally, the one that we have here is disjunct. And hopefully you can see that okay. Disjunct melody. Okay, so we've got static, conjunct, and disjunct, which is just essentially like spikes. So we also can call disjunct melody spikes. Okay, so a spiked melody. So we've got static, conjunct, disjunct, and they're also known as a spiked melody. Those are the 3 melodies. Now we're going to dive in to how The Weeknd and the songwriters who wrote Blinding Lights actually used these melodies in that song specifically. So if you've heard this song, you're very familiar with that intro of da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Now, if I was to ask you, what melody is that out of the 3 that I just shared with you? Is it a static melody that's very straight? Is it more of a conjunct melody that's moving a little bit? Or is it more of a spike? Now, the answer to this, I'm going to give it to you, is spikes, okay? And if we do this, you'll see why. So if we look at it and we're going da, 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 it's moving very much. And what I do personally, I like to use my finger as an imaginary graph that is moving. So if we were to move our finger with it, da, 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 a little bit like that, and then it continues on. And then it alludes to the same hook later on at the outro. But straight away, what this song does is it starts with a spike melody, or as I said to you just a moment ago, disjunct melody. Either or, you can call them spikes or disjunct. But they are great for hooks. So if you want to make a memorable part of your song with the melody, the easiest way to do it is with spikes. Okay, very, very simple. So many songs do it, including the most successful song on this planet, which is the song that we're going through right now. Okay, so now I've got my guitar and we're going to go into the verse, the first part of the song. Now we're going to look at it melodically first and foremost. Now we know the melodies that we can use: static, conjunct, disjunct, or you could call that spikes if you wanted to. And we're going to look at the verse. So if we just go through it. I've been trying to call, yeah. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you could show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through withdrawals, yeah. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. So now that I've just sang it to you and you can go and listen to it, what is the melody that it's using? Well, we know, based off the 3 melodies that we have, that is more like a straight line. It's more static, okay? It's just a static melody. I've been on my own, You don't even have to do too much. It's not singing it like, I've been, yeah, like doing all of that stuff, because then that's more of a spike melody. And what The Weeknd does is he comes out of the intro with the spike melody, but he's doing it through the instrumental. He's not doing it with his voice. He's doing it with a synth line, which you can do in your production if you so wish to do so. And then he goes into a static melody. So straight away, what does he have? He has the core element of songwriting, which is what we call contrast. Contrast is what's going to make your song successful. And straight away, he has the intro with spike melodies and then goes straight into a static melody. Now, a static melody, just so you know, is great for telling a story. So now that we've gone into the verse and we've explored what it's doing melodically and also lyrically, is that it's trying to set the scene and really paint the picture for the listener, then we transition into the pre-chorus. And what The Weeknd does, or the songwriters in this particular song start to do, is start to change the melody up, and they start to introduce conjunct melody, but also those spikes. And in particular on the section where it says, I look around and Sin City's cold and empty. Right, if we use our finger again to use that graph, I look around and Sin Cities. We got a little spike on cities. And we also, I look, Sin City's cold. We've got the cold, which is a slight spike as well. So he starts to sprinkle little pieces of hooks into that pre-chorus, whilst also painting the picture. I look around and Sin City's cold and it's empty. And that really paints a picture for us as a listener. He doesn't necessarily say there's no one around. He says it's empty. And you can imagine what that actually looks like. He imagines being in a city, Sin City, and you start to see it derelict. Right, you start to paint a picture in your head. So he does that very well lyrically, where he sets the scene of where he is and what it looks like. And that's a great thing you can do as a songwriter when you're writing the song. Let's say you're writing a love song about you are with the person you love. Okay, let's suppose for an example. Tell the listener what that feels like. How does it feel to be close to them? What does it feel like to hold their hand? So if you can start to explain to the listener in any song that you're writing, the smell, the taste, the feel, the touch, all of those things, but not just say to touch your hand is amazing. Actually really paint the picture of it as if it's a movie and the listener is physically watching this happen, or they're looking at the picture like they are in this case. I've been trying to call. You straight away imagine that picture. Sin City is cold and it's empty. All of those little things are just getting the listener to move along into that chorus and setting the scene for them. So you can see I have 4 words on the chalkboard. We have the word I, we have the word until, we have the word when, and we have the word one. What do all of these have in common? Well, these are the lyrics in the chorus that are spiked, okay? They are using that idea like that, okay? So what he does is he primarily sits on a static melody for the chorus. Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. It's nice and static. And then when I'm like this, you're the one. And it's got those spike elements in to the chorus. So it's got a balance between the both. So when you're going to your chorus writing, you can use both of these melodies. Let's say a static or a conjunct or a disjunct. Doesn't necessarily matter, but as long as you've got contrast. And what I find for the chorus writing is that you can't go wrong with a disjunct melody. You can't go wrong with spiked melodies, just in the way that The Weeknd has done a balance between the static melodies. So what I want you to take away from this in particular for the chorus is that number one, it's very simple. It's very, very, very simple in fact. And then also that you can spike your melodies, but you don't need to spike the entire chorus. You can just choose a couple words here and there where you can throw the spike in or throw the disjunct melody in, which is its official name. And you can throw those melodies in and just entice the listener, pull them in, and then take them back into your verse 2. So now I want to bring your attention to the final part of the chorus, which is these. The repetition of 3 heys. Hey, hey, hey! And then where does it go? It goes back into that intro hook that we heard. Now what do all of these have in common? Well, they are using this. Remember what this is? It's a spiked melody, or if you want to give it its official name, it's a disjunct melody. So we come out of the hey, 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 da 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 da. Now you can hopefully start to see how this song is starting to take some shape. So that's what it does for the end of the chorus, straight in to the intro hook that we hear again. And then where does it go from there? Well, it simply just repeats itself thereafter. It goes back in to a static melody. It goes back to the static melody, starts to paint a little bit more of a picture again for the listener, goes back to a pre-chorus with the same lyric, goes back to a chorus again with the same hook, and everything remains the same. So now what The Weeknd is really starting to do is solidify it. He's really starting to get it engraved in the listener's head, and he's got the intro hooks, he's doing all of this good stuff, and he's got the spikes that are driving the hook home. And then he goes from there, from the second chorus, into a bridge, and I want to share with you what we should be doing for our bridge. So the bridge itself, and I'm going to share with you my little idea here to what I'm going to explain to you, but the bridge itself is just designed to offer an escape for the listener or add a little bit more story. Now in this case, the bridge doesn't really offer any more story or any more insight to the lyric. Really, it just repeats itself about talking on the phone primarily. So what The Weeknd is actually trying to do, rather than just do the chorus again and again to the point where it probably starts to lose its edge a little bit, he diverts the listener from going again to the chorus. He diverts them to a bridge with another lyric, a slightly different melody, somewhere new that they haven't been, and then he drags them right back in to the chorus. But why does he do that? Well, simply it's because he knows if he keeps hammering the chorus home again and again, it's going to become too repetitive. And yes, you can get a song that is too repetitive. So he draws them out to somewhere else, and then this chorus here after the bridge almost acts as a reintroduction to the chorus. It's like the listener subconsciously has started to miss the chorus, so this time here it lands even heavier than it did before. Why? Because by this point the listener has already heard the chorus 3 times with the intro hooks and the chorus that we've heard with the lyrics. So when he comes back in here, they know it. They know it's, ooh, I'm blinded by the lies. So that by this point they're already starting to sing it because they know what it is. So that third chorus is perfect, and it's great that he offers somewhere else to go and then brings them back in to the song. So if you find your song is possibly on the edge of becoming a little bit too repetitive, just divert the listener somewhere for 10 to 15 seconds, offer them an escape, somewhere to go, and then pull them right back into the chorus, and I can guarantee it'll land that little bit heavier. And that is The Weeknd's Blinding Light song. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a great pop song, melodically, lyrically, the production as well, which we're not going to explore because I don't want that necessarily to be a reason why you can't go on and write this type of song. The production is the after stage, okay, but all of the fundamentals of the lyrics, the melodies, you can do without any production knowledge, without having to be a producer. They are some of the key elements. So go ahead, take that into your songwriting and start to develop songs that are based on the same values and the same techniques that of The Weeknd actually uses. Now in the description below this video, you'll see that there's an opportunity to book a one-to-one strategy call with me personally, where we can actually take a look at your songs, see how we can even implement some of these techniques specifically into your writing. Have a look at some of your biggest obstacles, what your goals are, and see if there's a path that we can put you on to get you where you need to be. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead, book a call below, and I'd love to speak to you about your songwriting. So I've been Danny Boyle here, founder of Songwriters International. If you haven't already, do drop us a subscribe somewhere around this video, down there or up there, and I would love to see you over on another video where we talk all things songwriting.